So you want to learn Python, right? It's one of the most popular programming languages on the planet. But where do you even begin? Well, in this explainer, we're going to lay out a super simple, clear roadmap to get you from total beginner to someone who can actually build things.
Yeah, if you've ever felt that mix of excitement, but also, just complete overwhelm, you are in exactly the right place. And here's the big secret we're going to build on today. Learning Python isn't about memorizing a bunch of weird syntax. It's about learning to build things. That's the key. Okay, let's dive in and map out your journey.
All right, first things first, we have to talk about the why. Seriously, before you write a single line of code, it is so important to know what's driving you. Understanding what you can create with this skill, well, that's the fuel that's going to power you through the whole learning process.
What's so amazing about Python is just how much you can do with it. Its versatility is incredible. You're not just learning to code in some abstract way. You're learning to build real things you might use every single day. Just think about it. You can build web apps, kind of like Instagram. You could create simple games to play with friends. You could write programs that automatically pull data from websites like eBay, or you could even just automate all the boring, repetitive tasks on your computer. It all starts here.
So now that you've got your motivation, it's time to assemble your toolkit. And listen, these aren't just abstract theories from a textbook. Think of these as the fundamental tools you'll use to construct pretty much anything you can imagine.
The most basic tool in your kit is the variable. Honestly, the best way to think about it is just as a labeled box, a container. You give it a name, like player score, and you put a piece of information inside it, like the number 100. From then on, whenever you need that information, you just call the box by its name. Simple, right?
Next up is control flow. This is how your program actually makes decisions. Using an if statement is like coming to a fork in the road. If a certain condition is true, let's say the player has a key, the program goes down one path. If it's false, it goes down a different one. This is what lets your code react and adapt to what's happening.
Now, let's talk about repetition. I mean, why would you ever write the same code 10 times when a loop can do it for you? The crucial part is just knowing which loop to use. A for loop is perfect when you know exactly how many times you need to repeat something, like going through every item in a shopping list. A while loop, on the other hand, is for when you don't know when to stop. It just keeps going as long as a certain condition stays true.
And the last tool for our fundamental toolkit is the function. Think of a function like a recipe. You write down the steps to do a specific task one time, like the recipe for making a cup of coffee. And then you can call that recipe anytime you want coffee, without having to rewrite all the steps. It keeps your code clean, organized, and way more efficient.
All right, you've got your tools. Now for the most important part of all, using them. The absolute best way to make these concepts actually stick is to just start building things. Think of this as your very first quest as a programmer.
This quote really just gets to the heart of it. Your first goal is not to build the next Instagram. It's to build something small, something fun, and something you can actually finish. Games like tic-tac-toe are absolutely perfect for this because they use all the fundamental tools we just talked about in a way that's really easy to see and understand.
And just look at how simple it is when you break it down. First, you display the board. Then you get the player's input. That's a variable. You place their X or O on the board. Then you check. Is there a winner? That's a perfect job for an if statement. And then you just switch players and repeat the whole thing. And that's your while loop. See? A complete game is just a series of these simple, logical steps using the tools you now have. Now, if games aren't your thing, that's totally fine. A basic calculator is another fantastic starting point. It uses the exact same ideas. You'll use variables to store the numbers, an if statement to decide whether to add, subtract, multiply, or divide, and then you just display the result. Again, it's all about learning by creating. Once you've built a few of these small projects, you're going to feel this click. And when that happens, a whole new world just starts to open up. You'll begin to see how you can expand your powers by tapping into the work of thousands of other programmers.
And this is where modules come in. A module is basically a pre-packaged toolkit that somebody else already built for you. It's like a power-up. Want to work with dates and times? There's a module for that. Need to scrape data from a website? Yep, there's a module for that too. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time.
And using them is as simple as writing one single line of code at the top of your file. You type import date time, and boom, you have access to a whole suite of tools for handling dates. You type from BS4 import beautiful soup, and you've got the power of a really sophisticated web scraping library. This is how you leverage the entire Python community to build bigger and better things faster.
And from here, the path forward is just full of exciting possibilities. You can learn to interact with files on your computer, pull live data from services like Twitter using something called APIs, or even build full-scale websites using powerful frameworks like Django. The fundamentals we've talked about, they are your launchpad to all of these advanced realms.
So, where does this all lead? Well, learning to code isn't about reaching some final destination. It's really about starting a continuous journey of building, creating, and solving interesting problems. Now let's be realistic. Mastering these fundamentals isn't going to happen overnight. It might take you 1 to 2 months of consistent practice, but every project you build, every error you solve, just solidifies a skill that is incredibly valuable in today's world.
And that value can be very tangible. As you grow, you could even start freelancing, solving problems for other people. I mean, rates for Python freelancers often fall right in this range, and that can turn a passion project into a potential career. That's a pretty powerful motivator for pushing through those challenging moments.
So you have the map, you know the why, the what, and the how. All that's left is to take that very first step. So the only question is, what will you build first?